this is Simon Robinson with Horizons of Hope, a podcast designed to give you hope and inspiration during these difficult times. And today I'm really pleased to have Dr. Debbie Hawker with me. She's a clinical psychologist based in the Nottingham area. Debbie and her husband David, who is also a psychologist, supports cross-cultural workers and their families around the world. Debbie has worked in 30 countries, including several war zones, and has helped people handle difficult situations, me included. She's written 8 books. The latest, co-written with Tony Horsfall, is called Resilience in Life and Faith, which I found extremely helpful and have passed out to a lot of people. And it's incredibly helpful in this difficult time. So Debbie, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Simon.
Debbie, can you tell us what led you to write this latest book?
Yes, so I often get asked to give talks on issues like trauma or depression or stress, but they can seem very negative. And I wanted to look at the positive side as well of how we can all build our resilience to cope with difficult times. I had been speaking at conferences about resilience among missionaries and aid workers, and I'd been looking at the research literature to learn more about resilience, and the book came out of those talks and the research that I was doing.
That's great. And I noticed you collaborate with another author with Bible studies in between, which I've found really helpful too. What made you make that decision?
I think 2 heads are always better than one, and we could bring different views to the topic. So Tony Horsfall is a friend and colleague of mine. He's a church leader and a spiritual director, and he's written a lot of good books, which I find very helpful. And while I was looking at resilience from a psychological perspective, Tony was speaking about resilience in the Bible, and he asked whether I would consider writing a book with him so that we could cover both the psychological and the biblical aspects of resilience. And I was very happy to do that, especially because I always learned a lot from Tony's perspective.
Yeah, I thought it was a great idea, and I've read other books by Tony, and he's a really good writer. By the way, is the book available on Kindle?
Yes, it is. Yes.
It is. So if people can't get to the shops, or if they can't wait for an Amazon order, they can download it, because I think people will find it really helpful. Can you tell us a bit more about what you mean by resilience?
Yes, people often talk about resilience as bouncing back from difficult times, but I don't think that quite captures it, because often people don't feel that they're bouncing, and also we don't always end back where we started from. So I think resilience includes planning ahead and preparing for challenges, and also coping with adversity to the best of our ability, making the best of the situations that we go through.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I love the model that you've got for resilience, and also it's so easy to remember in that acrostic SPECS, which I think I'm going to have tattooed on my hand actually, so I remember it. But I'm often thinking specs, and going over it. Can you take us through each part of it, please?
Absolutely. So I'm very short-sighted, and I need my spectacles or specs to help me to function well in life. And likewise, I think we can all benefit from the SPECS of resilience, which stands for the spiritual, physical, emotional, cognitive and creative, and social and systemic aspects of resilience. So if I go through each of those briefly, The spiritual aspects of resilience include having a sense of meaning, purpose and hope, practicing gratitude and forgiveness, and working out what we believe about suffering. The physical aspects include having enough rest and sleep, taking exercise if we can, eating well, avoiding too much alcohol, and generally looking after our physical well-being. Mm-hmm. And when we think about the emotional side of resilience, we're thinking about tools for good emotional health, including being able to acknowledge our feelings and find healthy ways to deal with them. So that might be sharing our stories with people and with God, and maybe writing in a journal, and also just cultivating contentment instead of negativity. Crying can be helpful sometimes, and leisure activities which we enjoy can just help our emotional resilience as well. And the C stands for the cognitive and the creative parts of resilience. So that includes our thought processes and what meaning we make out of life's challenges. It includes challenging negative thoughts and problem solving and having flexibility, And then the creative side might be anything from painting, colouring, gardening, baking, art, music, and all other forms of creativity. And then the final S, I said, was the social and systemic sides of resilience. So that's really about our environment and our support network. Resilience isn't just what's inside one person, it's what happens between people. So our supportive friends and family members can boost our resilience. And also if there are problems in the environment, like the current coronavirus crisis, then that can weaken our resilience. But a supportive church or other group can help us to be more resilient and to withstand those problems.
And how has this been shaped by the work that you've done in war zones?
Yeah, I've been privileged to meet some very resilient people in really difficult environments, which includes war zones. I've been in places like Darfur and Burundi, but also people experiencing natural disasters and extreme poverty. And I think when I'm told by someone who's got almost nothing, we are rich because we have God, that challenges me to think about my own priorities. And working in war zones has made me face up to my own mortality. Many times I've not known whether I would return alive. So that really helps you think about what's important. And seeing aid workers and missionaries willing to face death in order to help other people has also challenged me to just think about what's most important in life. And I think our doctors and nurses at the moment are doing that, being willing to risk their own health and well-being for others. And that's really what resilience is about.
Well, I'm sure we'll all agree that this is a really difficult time, unparalleled. How will this model, this SPECS model, help us cope in this difficult time?
I hope that it helps us to fix our eyes on the things that really matter, to get our perspectives sorted out, to think about the eternal. Personally, I think that when we're not afraid of death, then we've got much more resilience to cope with life. But I also think the 5 areas of the SPECS model can help us at the moment as we try and cope well physically, emotionally, spiritually, being creative when we're in isolation, doing what we can to fill our time in creative ways, and also supporting one another. I think that social support network is really vital at this time. So I think if we think about all 5 aspects of the SPECS model, that can help us through the difficult time at the moment.
It certainly is a help to me. I've been going through it every day, and also your book is on my sort of shelf where I've got my Bible and everything, my quiet time. No, I'm not saying I'm equating your book with the Bible, but
no, I wouldn't go that far.
But it's there, and it's just there for me to refer to quickly. What does this look like on a day-to-day basis?
I think at the moment, a lot of churches are putting out resources online, and that can help feed us spiritually. And then for the physical part, although we're only allowed to go out and exercise once a day, if we do take that opportunity to exercise, that helps us physically, as long as we keep a distance from other people. I think the creative part day to day might be just sitting drawing or making music, that sort of thing. And I think connecting with other people through the internet, through phone, reaching out, checking how neighbours are, the social aspect, that's something that we can still do at the moment, even if we're not able to go and visit people in their own homes.
I don't know how much time I've spent on Zoom meetings, and I've been praying with local ministers. I think actually our local church, this is ever so amateurish a call trying to come through there. Carry on. Our group of local ministers, I don't think we've prayed together and more than we have now, because we're talking on Zoom. So, it's great we can still get together through technology, although of course it's not the same as being physically with someone. What would you say to someone who's overwhelmed with anxiety about what's going on?
My heart really goes out to people in that position, and I would say, you're definitely not the only one. There's a lot of people at the moment who are very anxious. I'm not sure anything that I say would take that away, but I would want to be able to listen and sit with people like that. Sometimes just a calm presence can help people to feel calmer. And if they want to share their anxieties, I can listen to those and offer to pray for them if they want that. And I might recommend that they seek professional help if they're unable to function normally, if they're unable to sleep at all, or if they're just completely paralysed by the anxiety. GP appointments are still available in most areas, so it's good for people to seek that help if they really need it. But on the whole, I'd say at the moment it's normal to be a bit anxious. Just share it with someone, share it with God. Do the things that help you to feel better, whether that's taking exercise or talking to people or just having a good cry. Do what you need to, and I hope people will turn to their own friends, family, or church family and ask for help if they need it.
Yeah, I found a method that you told me, it was in your book actually, about if you can't sleep, counting down from 3,000 in threes. It gets a bit tedious, but it always sends me to sleep. So I'd recommend that to people listening.
Yes, that's great. That's meant to stop you thinking about other things, because when you're mentally working out arithmetic, you can't be worrying about other things. But it's also, as you say, it is very tedious and it's mentally tiring. And for a lot of people, they find that they go to sleep long before you get down to zero.
Yeah, I do often. Only once, I think in the height of the crisis, I got down to zero. Well, no, it's not the height yet, is it? But when, the initial impact was there. But I did find it really helpful and helped me to sleep.
Great.
Now, we all know that psychologists aren't superhuman. How are you getting on with this crisis?
Thank you for asking. Yes, we're doing all right, thanks. As a family, my husband and I felt a bit unwell last week. We don't think it was the coronavirus because we didn't have the temperatures, but we tried to take things easy and rest a lot more, and now we've recovered well. For us, homeschooling is one of the challenges at the moment. Our son turned 13 yesterday, and so not being able to be with his friends is a difficult thing. And for us, having to be the teachers, that's a new challenge for us. So we're just trying to work out balancing the homeschooling with continuing to support people around the world by internet. We're very grateful we've got a garden, so we can go out and get some fresh air outside. I am using my opportunity to exercise once a day to get out. That really helps too. And we're grateful for the internet, just keeping in touch with people, with friends, with family, and having hope in a God who's bigger even than this current situation. So trusting God that we will all get through this. So we're doing okay, but like everyone, we have our ups and downs and need one another to get through this.
Yeah. Well, we'll be praying for you too. And thank you, Debbie, for all the people you've helped, because I know your book has been a great help to people, and I would encourage people to get hold of it. I know delivery is going to be difficult, but if you've got a Kindle, you can download it from there. I've read it, and I thoroughly recommend it. So do please get hold of a copy of that. Thank you, Debbie, for being with us, and God bless you, and hope that you and your family continue to be blessed and at peace during this time.
Thanks very much, Simon. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and thanks always for your encouragement too. God bless.
God bless. Bye. Well, that's all for today. We'll look forward to the next broadcast, when I'll be talking to another person with an exciting story who can help us look for those horizons of hope. For now, goodbye, keep safe, stay in, be blessed, be at peace.